Sandy Springs, it's like 52 degrees this morning. Cold morning. Feels great out here. Got a great show today. Tony Barnhart, Mr. College Football, is going to join us, and Ken Capps out at the Texas State Fair. Take a picture with your phone of the QR code. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. A lot to cover today. Doug Dean checks in from Birmingham. Frank Duffy from probably New Orleans, I'm going to guess. Ken Capps will check in second half hour from the State Fair out in Texas. Hopefully he'll see Big Tex.
Howdy, folks. Park's closed.
Howdy, folks.
Moose out front should have told you. I wore my hat today for the Red River Rivalry from Hewlett and Dunn, everybody.
Gotta love it, man.
Love it. Folks, we just want to tell you, thanks for checking in today. We've had just record numbers, over 100,000, 120,000, close to 200,000 on our show last week. Thank you so much for supporting that, and the way that you can support that and continue to get this stuff for free, folks, you just click on these QR codes, take your phone out, snap a picture of it, your QR reader, bang, you're right to it, you hit subscribe, it's right to the link. You can get all of our stuff right there, as well as, hey, Twitter, X, Twix, whatever you want to call it. Boom, right there. Follow all the shows we do every week. It really helps us out, and very sincerely, if you want to support our show, go ahead and like, subscribe, follow, share, whatever you got to do. Okay, I'm done.
No, and it really is, because when you share that show, it gets the word out. And so, guys,
Rob, we're going to bring in these guys. I want you to turn your microphone up first a little bit, okay?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, there we go. First and foremost, Mr.
All right.
College Football, one of my favorite human beings on the planet Earth, Mr. Tony Barnhart. Welcome to the show. Of course, we bring in Frank Duffy, and then the chairman of the board, Doug Dean. How are you, gentlemen? Welcome to the broadcast.
Yeah.
Morning.
Tony, welcome aboard. Man, we're here in Sandy Springs at the daughter's new place. It's cold over here. Of course, the further north you go in Atlanta, it gets cold. Are you in College Station yet, or are you going to Yale practice tonight?
I flew in yesterday to College Station, and to get ready for the day, I got a full day. Got midnight Yale at midnight, but I've got a meeting with Trev Alberts, the athletic director, R.C. Slocum, who's a longtime dear friend. When we are done this morning, I'm going to his house. He's going to show me his Texas A&M room. A lot of great stuff. They're going to try to get me in to see Mike Elko, but he is a little bit busy right now.
Yeah.
And but it's going to be a full day. Looking forward to it.
It is. And Tony, have you been to College Station many times over the years? I mean, I can't think of any place you haven't been.
Yeah, I mean, I've been not a lot, but I've been. Well, I was here for the Johnny Manziel, the 49-42 game with Alabama.
Yeah,
I was here for that hottest day on record ever. I did CBS wearing a coat and tie on the field, and then they brought in some lights to even out the light. I mean, me and Spencer Tillman were just about to go, man. So, but yeah, I've been here a few times, but it's one of the great traditions in the game.
Yeah, it really is. And R.C. Slocum, that's our kind of coach on this panel, man. Just old school, hard ass. I hope he's doing well, because I know he was on that poll for a long time with a lot of coaches like Pat Dye and Jackie Sherrill and Grant Taft from Baylor. So, A&M right now having a heck of a season. You're going out to College Station, 107,000 people tomorrow against Florida. What do you think is going to happen?
The way that they're playing right now, talking about the Aggies, I think I see them winning this game. Now, Florida is going to come in here excited. Texas A&M is going to be excited about all this, but I just think they've got more talent overall, and the defense is playing lights out. And so I think they win the game.
Yeah, and it's SEC football. There's a lot of games we'll talk about. Frank, Doug, go ahead and jump in here with us.
Well, I'm down here in New Orleans. I went to the Tulane ECU game last night. It was a great game. Tulane scores in the last 35 seconds to win the ball game, breaks the tie, goes up by 7. And I got to tell you, Tony, I know you love individual performances by college players. Jake Retzlaff, the kid that came in from BYU to play for Tulane last night, he is a quarterback. He might play on Sundays. He had 350 yards of passing. And the amazing thing, Tony, he only missed one pass, only one bad pass, and everybody hit was in stride. It was a fantastic performance last night. And by the way, if you've never been to a game in Ullman, It is a quaint setting in uptown New Orleans, right in the footprint of where old Tulane, the majestic old Tulane Stadium used to sit. And it's an amazing thing to go to a college football game still in a neighborhood in uptown New Orleans. Fabulous. Tony, I got to tell you, R.C. Slocum gives me nightmares because he's the LSU killer. We had a 10-game stretch with him in the mid-90s to the mid-80s to the mid-90s, and they beat us 8 out of 2 times. The Harvey Williams game was the one that I remember. But the thing that I remember about R.C. Slocum is his methodical process for running the football and just owning the line of scrimmage. When you say R.C. Slocum and the Aggies, I think of dominance on the offensive and defensive line. What are your memories of watching your friend R.C. Slocum on those sidelines all those years?
He's a lot like Nick Saban in this regard. Nick Saban would say, I want to make it where people really don't want to play us. Because when you're done playing us, you are sore, you are beat up, you probably lost. And he believes, and rightly so, if you keep running and keep running and keep running, you will get to the fourth quarter and the other team will be they can't go anymore. They really don't.
Yeah.
It's a psychological thing as well when you can run the ball effectively. And RC, he is old school, but he is everything good about the old school.
No doubt. And the series that I'm talking about, those two hot places was College Station and Baton Rouge. And when you're running and you run those defenses and you get to the fourth quarter, I know I was ready to be done in 1995. I know the LSU Tigers were too.
Doug, jump in here with Tony. This is great stuff. Can't hear you yet. Try. Yeah. Okay. Tony, when looking around at college football, we got another big one this weekend. Alabama goes to Missouri. I'm a big fan of Eli Drinkwitz. Living in Memphis, Missouri's kind of out there on an outpost, kind of like being relocated when you were in the Army to Fort Wainwright, Alaska. They just don't get the day in and day out attention, but they're putting money, $300 million in. They've got Kroenke money. They've got Walton. People don't realize the Walton family is mixed between Missouri and Arkansas. Now, the last campaign at Arkansas, they gave Arkansas $500 million. Don't know what they gave for athletics, but what do you think is going to happen up there with those two teams?
This is the biggest. Dennis Dodd, who I do a lot of work with, CBS,
love him.
He's a Missouri grad, and he's calling this the biggest Missouri football game in 50 years. 2 top 10 teams with a lot on the line, and I think Missouri's going about it the right way. I like Coach Drinkwitz. I think he brings humor when it's necessary, and he'll tell you, hey guys, you guys need to pay some more attention to us. Okay, you'll notice he was the classic example. Last year we were arguing about the SEC getting another team in the playoffs. We thought they should have gotten a 4th team, and we discussed Ole Miss, and we discussed it. Missouri barely got a mention at all. Yeah. And that's a branding thing. Yeah. He recognizes the branding issue of this, what's controversial about it. So I think he's the right guy to fight that battle, and I think they play well. I just like the way Alabama's playing right now.
Yeah. And Kalen DeBoer, he's won everywhere he's been, and he didn't always have the resources he's got at Alabama now. Nobody overreacted after that first Alabama loss, did they?
No, not at all. They never overreact. So it's no. And people just say, well, you look at one game, your sample size is one game against Florida State where Florida State played great, and quite honestly, you weren't ready to play.
Yeah.
Right? So that happens, but it's one game. Yeah. And they've gotten better since. I was at the Georgia game in Athens against Alabama. I thought Alabama played well. Georgia could have certainly won that game. Yeah. But I like what Kalen DeBoer's doing, and it'll all come down to recruiting.
Well, Tony, with all due respect to our friends at Ole Miss, Alabama might right now be the best team in the conference. Yeah. I mean, they really could be. Yeah, could be. And you're right. The overreaction after week 1. I'm not saying they were getting out on the ledges, but there was a ladder on the outside of Dreamland. They were going up. I mean, it was only a matter of time.
I really like Ole Miss in my little tour that I'm doing this year. I went by to see Coach Lane Kiffin. And you think about how far he has come, and now he's in a place. People say, well, he's going to leave to Florida, and he's going to leave. I said, guys, have a conversation with the guy. He's happy. And as the great Al McGuire once said, don't mess with happy.
Yeah.
Okay? And he likes, nobody messes with him. He can do what he wants to do. And he's made the most out of it. And he's recruited great receivers and great quarterbacks and great offensive linemen. It's worked.
And money goes a long way in Oxford, Mississippi, and there's no reason to go. And he's built a great program. That was the first thing I tweeted or texted to Rob and Doug when the LSU Ole Miss game went final. I said, Lane Kiffin has built one hell of a program in Oxford, Mississippi.
Yeah. He has. Guess who I get to see tomorrow in Auburn? He's going to be flying in with the team around 12 o'clock.
Dr. Andrews, I'm betting.
Lauren Smith.
Oh, Lauren. All right.
He's going to be, he goes, Rob, we're going to be setting up in the press box. We got to go live. They do a 3-hour pregame show. I love this guy. I mean, Lawrence, growing up as a kid and in college, I'd be at an Auburn game listening to the Auburn game and the Georgia network. You know, Lauren, what do you got? Well, Larry, I tell you that Georgia having a hard time stopping this Auburn defensive line. They're getting in the backfield all day. All right, we got 91 seconds to go, an eternity for you dog fans. What could go wrong? The sun could fall from the sky.
And it was always, I got 7.5 to go. It was always a half a yard to go. By the way, Lawrence Smith and Chuck Dowdle are two of my favorite human beings, some of the nicest men on the planet.
Yeah. I mean, Go ahead.
No, Lauren, when I got to Georgia in 1974, Lawrence Smith was there. And here we are 50-something years later. And Lauren and I still remain close. He is something that he just keeps going. You just figure one day he's going to say, well, I've had enough of this, you know. No. So, yeah, he'll be great.
Well, it's a textbook definition for the word gentleman.
Yeah, yes. He is. He's the patriarch of Southern football, like you and David Housel and people like y'all. Doug Dean, jump in here. We got the issues worked on with Tony Barnhart. Mr. College Football always has been and always will be.
Tony, always an honor to have you on and talk to you. When I hear your voice, I just think college football.
Well, thank you.
You know, if only you could bilocate Tony Barnhart, because I know that you're going to have a great time in College Station. That could be a whale of a game. But I also know that your mind just might be on 6:30 p.m. in Jordan-Hare Stadium, the renewal of the Deep South's oldest rivalry. That one, something's got to give between Georgia being 109th in sacks and Auburn being unable to block anybody in pass pro. Is that one of the key matchups, Tony?
You got to get some pressure on the quarterback. Okay, and that is going to be the key. But Georgia is like every team in the SEC. First of all, there is not a team in this conference who is not flawed in some significant way. And the question is, can you work around your flaws? Georgia's problem is they can't get pressure on the quarterback. But if they can get that sort of solved out, but I like the way that they're playing. And do you not love Gunnar Stockton? I mean, do you not love this kid, watching him play? And you can tell, you can get the sense that the players behind him say, we got your back, dude. We are not going to let you fail. And this is a good football team. They are one long pass dropped away from being undefeated in this game.
Yeah. He's a gym rat with red clay on his Chuck Taylors.
Yeah.
That's what that kid is.
I'm going to compliment. You know, it's not that Carson Beck is playing bad at Miami, for God's sake, but I admire. There was some risk involved. I admire Kirby Smart for. I'm sure it was a NIL funding, budgetary valuation issue partly, but I think he also was really excited about the moxie and grit and arguably a better running ability that Stockton brings to the table that just might fit what he wants to do, Bobo, and he want to do offensively a little better.
Well, and the guy throws the ball better than he gets credit for. That 28-yard back shoulder fade pattern against Tennessee that helped them get in position to win the game. There's a lot of guys in the NFL who wish they could make that throw.
Yeah. The only receiver I've seen make a back shoulder catch better was Mike Williams at Clemson. That's how good that was. And I remember talking to Gunnar at media days. Gunnar, there's a lot of people say you can't coach kids hard today. What do you say about that? And he goes, no, sir. I said, you like being pushed hard to play that full 60? And he goes, yes, sir. And he doesn't say a lot. But I was like, that's the kind of guy I'm going to run out on the field with, and I know I'm going to win. I'm getting extra tartar sauce on the way to go fish for Moby Dick with that guy. That's the kind of confidence that he gives you. Tony, another one, got to ask you, looking around the league right now, what are some storylines about, we're going to 9 games next year. We're at 8 this year. What are some storylines that are catching your attention? Because the great writers, and Doug is one of them as well, you have a way of painting pictures with a pen or a keyboard.
Well, to me, the main beneficiary of going to 9 games is that we get Florida Auburn, one of my favorite games.
Yeah,
it disappeared from the earth. I don't know what happened to it. It's gone. Okay? And now at least that game gets played every other year.
Yeah.
Tennessee, Alabama. How can you not play Tennessee, Alabama every year? And now we will get Tennessee, Alabama every year. So I think there's some, and plus you get, who doesn't want more SEC football? I mean, I'm just, I go back to the COVID year when we had 10 SEC games and people's, man, I love this. This is great. So I just think that the storylines are the games that we now get on a more regular basis. We'll get Alabama, Georgia every other year. Yeah. We'll get Georgia. Will finally come to College Station. Texas A&M has been in the league since 2012. Yeah. Georgia has yet to go to College Station, Texas. That will address that. And the Georgia fans want to go to College Station, Texas. Yeah. They've never been. So that's what we get from going to 9.
And even if you don't have a permanent opponent, what is it, every couple or 3 years?
Every 4 years. You get everybody home and home every 4 years.
Yeah. Not only the way to summarize it is that you play everybody. Every 2 years you play everybody. And every 4 years you play everybody home and away. Nick Saban has been banging on the door for this for 10 years, trying to get them to do this, and they finally have.
Tony, there's some Auburn people that would have loved for the Auburn-Florida series to go away during the tenure of Steve Spurrier.
No.
They weren't the only ones.
Yep, that's right.
Well, and I look also, too, you look at what's going on at Tennessee right now. Tennessee and Arkansas play. Robert Petrino, loved by all. And he's going up to knock. I was in Fayetteville last year for the Tennessee-Arkansas game. And we were with our friends Jim and Pat McClellan, had the greatest time. That's just an awesome – all these venues are awesome. I mean, that's like, the Stones do a world tour. Which place did you not like selling out? So what do you think is going to happen up in the hills this weekend?
This game will be closer than the experts think, simply because when you've got Bobby Petrino calling the plays for Jalen Green, you've got something going on. And there'll be a surge of energy. Yeah. Petrino's first game as the head coach, so there'll be a lot of energy out there. I think they win the game, but I like Tennessee. I really do. So I think they win the game, but there'll be a lot of energy in that game. It'll be fun.
Yeah, Frank.
Well, the game I'm looking forward to is Texas A&M and Florida, where Tony is. I mean, what's Florida come in with after that win last week against Texas? I mean, which Florida team shows up? And Texas A&M, man, they're a juggernaut right now. They're playing great football. So I think that's, to me, I mean, I love Georgia Auburn. It's wonderful history in that series. But man, Florida, Texas A&M, that's an intriguing matchup coming up tomorrow.
Well, yeah, and the question is how well is Florida going to play coming off that big win against Texas? I mean, that just gave everybody some juice. But can you overcome the 12th man? Can you overcome 105,000? That is the key. I think Mike Elko's done an incredible job with this team. Remember last year? Oh, this guy can't do it. They wrote him off early, and because they had a fast start and then got into some injury problems. Well, it's going to be interesting to see how they play tomorrow night. It's good. I think they're going to play really well.
Almost every one of us exactly a week ago were drinking the Jeff Lebby and Mississippi State Kool-Aid, and Texas A&M had something to correct about that logic. Week to week, like you were saying at the outset, Tony, every team is flawed. My good Bama friends might argue that their flaws are harder to find, shall we say, but they're ranked way down the list in pressuring quarterbacks as well, sacks. But I'm gonna give Texas A&M the benefit of the doubt until they prove otherwise. They've kind of earned that after last week.
Rob, you'll appreciate this. A couple of weeks ago, Georgia, Alabama. We're sitting in the press box with all us old grizzled sports writers are sitting in the press box, waiting on the returns to come in from that day. You remember that was the day. It was a 4-point game, a 5-point game, a 6-point game, 1 7-point game. Only one game was decided by more than 7 points. And an athletic director who all of us know and love very well walked through, and I just looked at him and said, okay, you wanted to look like the NFL. That's it.
Yeah.
What you saw today was where we're headed. Every game is going to come down to about one possession, and there will be very few blowouts. Because why? Because there are a lot of really, really good teams in the SEC, but I don't think right now there's a great one.
I don't either. And here's an interesting stat. Of the 136, I call them Division I football teams, 58 of the 136 coaches have been on the job for less than 2 seasons or less.
Mm-hmm.
It's different. Like I said, we had Ryan Silverfield from Memphis on last week. Went to the Touchdown Club Monday, talking to him. He's only 44 years old. Boy, it's good to be friends with the Smith family if you live in Memphis, and the Hyde family. You know,
He's a great coach, Rob. I love talking to Coach Silverfield, and I'll tell you, Coach Summerall last night, who I watched on that Tulane sideline. Those are coaches that are going to be stepping up to the next level. Both those young men. Yeah,
and I'm telling you one thing. Brendan told me that show drew over 187,000 Twitter people. I mean, wow. And that's Tony. And another thing too. We'll keep you a few more minutes. I know you got a big day ahead of you. What is surprising you about the SEC right now, quarterback wise, like Arch Manning? Kind of. Mm-hmm. Settle people down. You know, we all grew up with Arch and then Eli and Peyton, and Cooper got hurt. But we're trying to rush things, man. We're trying to microwave. You can't microwave ribs or brisket. You know that. I live in Memphis.
Absolutely. Well, the thing about it, I spoke to the Athens Touchdown Club a couple of weeks ago, and that subject came up. Well, Arch Manning, I said, hey, guys, I promise you this. When Texas rolls into Sanford Stadium on November 15th, Arch Manning's going to be just fine. Okay? It is a learning, as one coach said, it's a process, and you got to learn how to play the position, and that takes time. And so, in other words, people say, what happened to Arch Manning? It's like all these other years he played, he was fooling everybody. And then he gets into college and, I can't play this game anymore. Hey, come on. It's just.
Yeah, I get Doug.
Yeah, Tony and Duff and Rob will comment. I bet if I could interview Kirby Smart, who's the dean of the SEC by any standard since Saban retired, and he might be making a case for overtaking that position if you give him 5 or 10 years. But right now, the Georgia's offensive line is a study in the impact of NIL and the impact of the transfer portal. But Kirby, he said it's the dangest thing I've ever seen. That it's a little bit of a mash unit, and there's a possibility Mike Bobo will have to insert not one but two true freshmen in that offensive line. And going against this Auburn front, Auburn's had struggles, but the struggles were to the 5th and 6th ranked team on the road, for God's sake. Even though he's managed to look really, really incompetent offensively. But what is this mostly about bad luck or the impact of the transfer portal that Kirby finds himself in that spot with the O-line?
Well, like somebody asked me, a Georgia fan, talking about depth. He said, where is our depth? I said, your depth is at Tennessee. Your depth is at Auburn. Your depth is at Alabama.
Right.
That's where your depth is. Okay. Yeah. And that's the way it's going to be. That way, the depth is going to be a problem. If you have injuries on top of depth issues, now you got a real problem, and you're just going to have to work. You got to work around it.
Yeah, and it's why think about this: Indiana and Oregon are going to catch a lot of eyes on the TV sets this weekend. Yeah. Who would have ever thought we'd be paying attention to that game? I mean, Oregon's a brand. Indiana, not in football, but they are becoming one.
Well, The thing about it is, when this season started, Indiana came out of the gate and said, "Well, who is this year's Indiana?" Well, as it turns out, it's Indiana.
Yeah.
Because we thought they were one-hit wonders. You know that okay, they got the greatest schedule in the history of mankind, and they took full advantage of it, and good for them. And so but now they're Illinois. Are you kidding me? What they did to Illinois, which is a highly ranked team, right?
Yeah.
They destroyed them. The worst loss of his career.
Yeah.
I mean, so
and Illinois is playing good ball, Tony.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna stick with Ohio State for a little bit.
Yeah.
I got to ask you, Tony. We can't let you go without speaking on the UNC Belichick issue. You know, it's like when you're driving down the road, you don't want to slow down to see the wreck, but something just makes you do it. What in the world is going on in beautiful Chapel Hill?
The phrase "train wreck" comes to mind. No, it hasn't worked. Okay, the big money guys at UNC said we're going to buy us a coach, and we're going to do this. We're going to give him all he wants, and but it hasn't worked. And it's hard for guys to make that. Bill Belichick didn't forget how to coach. Yeah. Okay. Guy, he's a Hall of Famer, 6-7 Super Bowl rings, but sometimes it's not a fit. It wasn't meant to be. So I don't think it's a question of if, it's a question of when. And somebody's got to. And this is embarrassing. It's embarrassing because you guys have been there. I spent a lot of time in Chapel Hill in my career.
Beautiful campus.
That's a pretty buttoned down place.
Yeah.
And this is not with the sophisticated crowd. This is not going well.
That's not going down with that Chablis, Tony.
That's right. Not the wine and cheese crowd. That's right.
That's right. That's right.
Muffy, put your ascot on and be quiet. Yes, sir.
Tony, to your point, and no one wants to hear this, it's all speculation. But arguably on the whole question of when you go hire a college, stick with college, not the league, hire a college coach, you better be really skilled or get some help at making sure you like the fit. I don't think Harson's a horrific coach like he looked at Auburn, but he was a horrific fit at Auburn for reasons I don't care to autopsy again. As an Auburn man, but I think if you go 15 years ago and you put the GOAT, Nick Saban, at the wrong college, even if it had in Texas might be a fair example of that, or pick your program where Saban just couldn't run it himself. Maybe there are too many billionaire boosters. It's not impossible that Nick Saban would look rather pedestrian, as in, making the playoff every 4 or 5 years, not every single year.
Right. No, and there's a lot of truth to that. I'll never forget my first sit down with Nick Saban after he got the job. First thing he said to me was, well, the first thing these people have got to learn is that we're going to speak with one voice around here, and that voice will be mine, and that's it. And that is one reason it has worked out. Yeah, it's got to be a fit. We all know if it's not a fit, and sometimes you find out that it's not a fit 3 games into your first season. And then what do you do? So
and Tony, even when it is a fit, like a Sam Pittman, which I thought was a perfect fit for Arkansas, it just sometimes doesn't work out. I mean, there's 15 other teams in this conference that want to win too.
Yeah, they still give scholarships too.
Yeah, that's what it is. Tony, before you go, let people know how they can follow you, because I know you got to go see Coach Slocum, but we'll get you back on in the next week or two if you can join us. But I know this is like your 50th year. Yeah, I'm looking forward to having you on here for your 100th birthday. We're all going to celebrate. Hey, you talk about Lauren Smith's longevity. Tony Barnhart is looking younger and more energetic than I've seen in a long time, because I think you're realizing you love this game and you make us love it more.
I'm having a blast. And what I'm doing is I'm doing, for lack of a better term, a final farewell tour lap around. I've been to a bunch of places. I've been to Alabama, been to Ole Miss, been to Mississippi State, obviously College Station. Yeah. Today going to Athens to see Kirby in a couple of weeks. And it's been a lot of fun, seeing a lot of friends and revisiting some memories. I'm not writing as much on a daily basis simply because I'm gathering material for this book. And I spent a lot of time traveling to do it. But it's what the stuff I do write is on the Football Writers website, fwaa.com. And I try to give them one thing a week, sometimes on Monday. But I'm leaving time so I can be on with you guys and other folks. So it's a lot of fun.
To mention this to RC, when the great Coach Slocum, when you said we had Mac Browne on, and he talked about how the coaches have to hate each other now for the fan bases. He and RC are close friends.
Right.
He said it got to where his fans were too mad at him if they ever saw him having lunch.
Yeah. Tony. Yeah.
Mac Brown's a real close friend. He is something.
Yeah, and we were blessed to have him on 3 weeks ago. Thank you to Harold Grader and Greg Cotton, the Touchdown Club. When I got to meet him, he was great on the show. But Tony, as always, thank you more than you know. Have a safe trip, safe travels out there. And I'm looking forward to hearing your story when you write about midnight yell practice at Texas A&M.
All right. Well, I can promise you this. It'll be in the book.
All right.
Hey, don't drink the Kool-Aid over there, Tony. Pass it up.
That's right. All right. Thank you, Tony Barnhart.
Right.
Ken Capps should be joining us in a second. There he is, live from the Texas State Fair in the Metroplex, the Cotton Bowl. First off,
Texas are upon
you
Hey,
all the live long days.
After all this Aggie talk, we had to give equal time.
That's right.
Man, I tell you. But guys, I am sitting in the prime location at the Great State Fair of Texas right now. I am sitting at the best turkey leg stand right here. I've got the Midway over here to my right. I've got the Cotton Bowl over here to my left. And I want you to look behind me. The turkey leg pit that they're about to put all these turkey legs on. Okay, it's not some fancy grill that comes out of, Wisconsin or somewhere. Okay, these are cinder blocks. These are cinder blocks that are painted red. So, Rob, you'll like this. You're a barbecue man. Y'all are all barbecue people. Okay, they have iron grates on them. And then the most important thing, a fella just pulled up and he's delivering more right now. Texas mesquite charcoal wood. That's where the magic happens, gentlemen. That's where the magic happens. And that's where Texas hopes the magic happens tomorrow, because they're going to need some, I think, against the Sooners.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you see that line? Did you see that line move? It was Oklahoma getting 3 to now Texas getting 1. That's a huge move. And that was a weak move.
Well, and the thing is, there's been all this moving around about if John Mateer's going to play or not. I mean, he's gone from out to questionable, and today it says he's probable. I don't know how a guy has hand surgery like that in 2 weeks and is probable. I don't know if that's playing mind games or if he's really going to trot out there and play. It may be trying to get Sark and the defense to change what they're doing, but I tell you what, it's sure shaking up UT fans around here.
Well, for the Red River Rivalry, if he can go in this game, he will go in this game. That's how
absolutely
for both sides.
Yeah. Doug.
I'm still a bitter Auburn man from the game and how it went down in Norman, Oklahoma. And I'm sorry, but I think head coaches probably know the health status of their quarterback. And so now this requirement due to Vegas and online betting, teams have to issue their injury report by Wednesday evening. But all he's got to do is say questionable, and I don't think it's, playing rope-a-dope with whether Mateer goes or not. And I can't imagine him being more than 75% healthy, and they likely won't play him. I don't think that affects the outcome. But if Mateer's close to healthy and he can give them the threat he has a capability to do, then that's a bonus sure for the student.
Oh, there is no doubt. And the thing that's really impressed me with him all year is his running ability. And when he was playing that game against Auburn, and I saw him playing that game against Auburn and saw him, right there within the 10. And I mean, that was a running play for him all day long. And I said to somebody that was watching the game with me, I said, I hope the Texas defense is watching this game and seeing that play, because you know that they're going to run that play in Dallas. And I mean, it's so simple for him. And, that's the big difference between him and Tommy Hawkins. I mean, last year, of course, Tommy Hawkins is a lot better quarterback than he was last year when he came in and played against Texas, but he's still not John Mateer. And I know that Texas would rather face Hawkins rather than Mateer. But, what is it? You guys said it right. What does it matter? Everybody's going to run down that tunnel on Saturday afternoon at 2:30, and they're going to, play like they're with their hair on fire. So here we go.
Everybody's going to play hurt. The cool thing,
That's
Arch
right.
Manning, we know about Arch Manning. We just talked with Tony Barnhart. He's out in College Station going to see R.C. Slocum. The cool thing about you, Ken, is these coaches. And my friend Dave Cody, who's watching, he's moved back to Lake Martin here about a month ago. And he was a sports anchor in Austin all those years, and all y'all know each other. You're there day in and day out all the time. You're in Dallas, Austin. What do you think? I think Arch will be fine. We're trying to shove everybody in because of the NIL money they're paid. We automatically think, well, then they're a great player. It's like the NFL, but they've done 4 or 5 years of college. Then they get the money. This is why NIL is difficult to figure out, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is. And, somebody brought this up to me yesterday. They go, Arch has started 8 games. Arch has started 8 games. Yeah, I mean, that's starting to get a body of work, but he started 8 games now.
Yeah.
And, and I looked at the Florida game last week, and I did, by the way, I sent Brendan a congratulatory note last week. So I wanted to make sure that he knew that my sportsmanship was up there. But, look at Texas. They gave up on the run. They ran 9 running plays and then gave up on the run because somehow Texas went from having this, what do they call it? This plethora of running backs to like having none. And just, when you give up on the run, when you've got an offensive line that is not playing well, and it's getting over and over these stupid penalties that are drive killers, I mean, that puts a lot of pressure on Arch. And then his receivers, they did a lot better last week, but they're still dropping balls out there that are easily caught that he's put right in their breadbasket for long games. It puts a lot of pressure on Arch. So I'd look around the entire offense. It's not just Arch that is the problem on the Texas offense. There's a lot of different injuries, people being out, and then dumb penalties. So that's the way I look at it.
Y'all got to clear up those pre-snap penalties. Those
Amen.
are the ones that shoot you in the foot, and that causes any momentum that you're getting to go out the window. Look, I could shank a 3-iron to where Arch went to high school from where I'm sitting right now. That kid didn't forget that kid didn't forget how to play football.
No.
And I don't care what the competition was. He can spin it. You just have to get better offensive line play, cut out the mistakes, and like you said, his receivers aren't helping him. They're dropping too many balls.
Yeah, that's right.
Real talk for a second. And I mean nothing but admiration for Arch, for the Manning family. But it's almost as if not just the Texas Longhorns, the excitement when you get a commitment and you sign Arch Manning, what could possibly go wrong? It was as if, and every single other program that would have loved to sign Arch, I think would be going through the same thing. The problem is reps and seeing live football when you play savage like you do in the SEC. And but it was almost like a black swan event, something you couldn't conceive of that Arch would struggle. And the fact that Arch is struggling is not all on this kid. But
Right.
Cautionary tale is, you got to know you got to know the not just the ceiling but the downside of when you sign a name that's that iconic. Then
Expectations.
A lot of aspects to it that are maybe challenging to manage, and I wouldn't have seen that coming because Sarkisian is so good at deploying an offense. But I say this not to piss off any Longhorn fans or anybody else, but I think in game there's going to be growing pressure unless there's a pretty quick turnaround, which could happen tomorrow in Dallas. But I think that you see Arch Manning enter the transfer portal, And a place I would keep an eye on is Oxford, Mississippi, because they've got a quarterback whisperer there, not unlike Sarkisian. Both of them get mentioned in those tones.
Well, let me tell you this. Tomorrow is a do or die game for Texas. Okay. And again, the same fellow I was talking to yesterday, I said, man, I'm going to use all your good points on sidelines. Okay. So I'll give you credit. But, he said, look at it this way. If Texas wins the Red River shootout, the Texas and wins out, they can still win the SEC or go to at least the SEC title game and make it into the CFP. If Texas loses tomorrow, it's pretty much over, and they're just shopping for a nice bowl and hoping to get their seniors into the Senior Bowl. And I mean, that would be pretty devastating for Texas for its season to be like that over in the second week in October.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, all the pressure is on Texas tomorrow to win. And, it's not been that way now. I mean, really, since Sark's first season, Texas has won the game in the last 2 years, and now all the pressure's on Texas.
Well, here's what Brad Bellamy just told me before he came on. a little insight.
Hey, Brad.
Good morning, Ken. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Big Tex, the 70-foot tall iconic cow at the Texas State Fair, according to Brad Bellamy, has entered the transfer portal. But anyway,
Yeah.
Brad, what's going on at Landers Ford, Memphis.com, Poplar and Houston Levy? Oh, there he is.
There he is. Hey.
Oh, well, you got to love him, but Brad.
He's right down the road from me.
Brad, what's going on? Welcome aboard. Thank you.
Man, if Texas loses this game, I think Arch Manning's about to enter the transfer portal too. So wow. I think there's zero chance he is at Texas next year.
Wow.
So, man, beautiful weekend here at Landers Ford. Got a lot of things going on. All the expeditions and explorers. We keep rolling them off the lot, X-Plan price and everything. Reminder to all the listeners at home, $500 off additional for any listeners of the Sideline Sports. Come on out and see us. That's used. That's new. Want to take care of our folks that are listening here. Also, big rebates on F-150. We got F-150s, 3.9 for $72, up to over $10,000 off. We got Escapes priced under $25,000 when you include the Ford rebate on those. So a lot of great activity. And then EVs, guys, Ford's continuing to make a big push. We got to continue to make a big push on selling Mach-E's and Lightnings. I know the government's changed some rules, but the programs are still strong. Still get 0 for 72, which nothing out there has 0% interest right now. Still got great lease deals. And Rob, I'm waiting for you to come out and see this Bronco. Your wife's been wanting that color, so it's parked on the point. 2-door Heritage Bronco, white top, absolutely gorgeous. Under 3,000 miles. It's ready for Mrs. Browne.
Yeah, we're in Atlanta right now, but she needs to come see it because she starts her new job Monday. So I'm going to tell you what, Brad, everybody that goes out there and everybody watching, just go ask for Brad. It isn't the doing in life that's so bad. It's the dreading.
Right.
You're going to look for a vehicle. Just go see Brad, get the process started. You won't find, and also I want to say this too. What I saw, the generosity guys at the Touchdown Club Monday with Kent Ritchie and the folks, what they did for LeBonner Children's Hospital. And as a Christian Brothers alum, everybody over there. My son-in-law works there. I'm a graduate. My dad was. What Landers does is just unbelievable what you put into the community. So, you don't have to buy vehicles anywhere. You want to buy them from Landers because there's a lot of give back. And I'm just proud to be associated and have y'all as a sponsor. So thank you. But Doug, jump in. I know you had a question. You bet.
And I appreciate that, Rob. And I'm really glad that I don't have a festival or anything to go to this weekend outside of what we got here. I mean, last weekend we had Bartlett Festival at the Mustang Club of Memphis. We had the Rossville Smoking on the Wolf Barbecue Festival that we were out there with. So it's exciting for me not to have another extra weekend, so we can actually just focus.
Gotcha.
Take
Doug, jump in here.
Service and so,
Brad,
you guys
I wanted to tip my hat to your guys in Tuscaloosa. They played a hell of a game against a solid. I don't know about elite, but Vanderbilt is breaking their own records historically. And I thought Alabama was very smart about. You want to play shorten the game, Vanderbilt? We'll beat you at your own game and have 14 minutes more time of possession or something like crazy like that. And you know, for an Auburn man in Birmingham, Brad, there's no escaping the Crimson Tide. I slinked in the garage, this dive on Highland Avenue. Have a sandwich and peace and quiet, and two good Bama guys were talking Ty Simpson for Heisman, and all I could do was turn to him and say, "I agree with you, Ty Simpson." In the Heisman.
I'm not gonna crown anybody Heisman Trophy winners yet. Last year in the halftime of the Georgia-Alabama game, I crowned Milroe Heisman Trophy winner, and then we saw what he did on the road the rest of the year. So I think Saturday's a defining game for Alabama. I mean, if they beat Georgia, but, you know, Georgia struggled against Alabama. But is that going to be the fluke that the LSU road game was last year, or are we going to see that, hey, they have composure, they can handle the pressure, they can handle the noise? You know, Missouri's not necessarily known as the toughest place to play in the SEC, but I got to think it's their biggest game on the schedule this year, and so they're going to be out in droves tomorrow. And it's still Alabama. If they win the game, you know, they're rushing the field. They're getting fined by the SEC. But hopefully, you know, I mean, if Alabama plays to the same composure level that they did against Georgia, they did against Vanderbilt, I mean, it's a very different team right now, penalty-wise and everything else. If they do, I mean, this is a 2 or 3 touchdown game against Missouri if they have composure.
Brad, Tony Barnhart came on and said that Dennis Dodd, who's a Missouri alum, said that this is the biggest game in Como in 50 years.
Yeah, it's ginormous. Ken, looking at the landscape of the SEC, you're in the Metroplex, but you're Football Writers Association of America. You're everywhere. And by the way, follow up on the transfer portal rumors about Big Tex. But what do you think about, you know, having a Western Bureau of the SEC Network? That's us. And my friend Wes Moore in Little Rock, who's now got a podcast called More Sports out of Little Rock. He's a Jacksonville, Texas native. But Texas, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Missouri, and Arkansas, those 5 schools don't always get the attention. Well, Texas really, they do, but still, this is pretty cool because you've got Arkansas is not out there alone. Neither is Missouri anymore. What's the vibe of the fans out there about being in the SEC?
Oh, man, everybody loves it. Everybody loves it. I mean, I hear very little talk. I mentioned to somebody the other day, they got kind of mad at me because I said, you know, I don't hardly hear any talk anymore about the Big 12. You know, because you've still got Baylor, you've still got TCU, you still got Tech. I mean, look how good Tech is doing now. Of course, one of the reasons they're doing well is because Texas and Oklahoma are out of the league, and they don't have to play them. But you know, you just don't hear a lot about the Big 12, and you know, there's very little written about them. I mean, sure, there's some, but you know, Texas, all the newspapers and media are covering the SEC out here now. And I think that's really great. And you know, the commissioner said it, Commissioner Sankey said it, you know, we're adding these 2 schools to increase the footprint of the SEC. And by golly, that's happened.
Yeah. Well, there's people listening. My son-in-law, I'm here in Atlanta. Tyler was down there at Eagle Pass, you know, just across the Rio Grande over in Mexico last week. Dove hunting, shot 1,500. His shoulder, as we had to surgically put it back on. That's Mexico, but the folks down there, they have a full network. We had member Ruben, the voice of the Texas Longhorns Spanish network. He's great. That footprint's getting big. Doug Dean, jump back in.
You know, I feel that there's a voice in the back of my head. Maybe it's Yancey Porter, great Ole Miss guy. One of us needs to ask, why not Ole Miss this year? And you can say, well, they always find a way to drop a couple of games. But man, I mean, that quarterback, they go into Division II to get a QB, and he sure looks competent. Why not Ole Miss making the playoff this year?
And at least to make it to Atlanta finally.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Brad, you know, you looking at the big picture, like we talk about Alabama. This is such a big game. Dennis Dodd, who we've had on the show a lot, he technically retired April 10th, but guys like Dennis Dodd are guys like Robert Plant. He'll never retire. Led Zeppelin's not back together, but Brad, you get to talk to a lot of college. Yeah. Yeah. But Brad, every day people are coming into the dealership. You talk college football with a lot of people. I think the enthusiasm, Frank, Doug, Ken, me, Brendan, and you watch this show at night, the Buddy Martin Show, Lauren Meadows, college football, we can't get enough of this stuff. This isn't the first time we've had some difficulties, is it?
I mean, Rob, I think that this year the excitement level is through the roof. I mean, one thing that's been different so far this year versus last year is I feel like there's more of a level of predictability that's happening right now. Not completely, but man, by this point in time last year, or maybe we're about to get into it, but it felt like every week a game that we were not expecting at all just completely blew everybody's mind, and it was consistent every week, week in, week out in the SEC. We had these teams that we were not expecting to show up. We had it last week with UCLA against Penn State, so I shouldn't maybe speak too much on that. But for the most part, Mississippi State's a great example. Last year, I feel like Mississippi State probably wins that game just because of the craziness that we had at the beginning of the SEC season. But, they went into A&M, and A&M did what they were supposed to do. And, that defense at A&M, holy crap, man, they are playing lights out. The under in that game is a good-looking line to me against Florida this week because Florida's defense has been playing pretty good too. So, this weekend alone, look at the slate we got. Even though Auburn's not ranked, it's only a 3.5-point spread, which I think Georgia's – I don't understand why Georgia's only a 3.5-point favorite given what Auburn's done against the competition this year. But, you got Florida, Texas A&M after Florida just beat Texas. Obviously, the Red River Shootout. Texas is favored in a game that what do you guys think on that game? I don't know if you've already talked about before I got on, but if Mateer plays for Oklahoma, I've seen nothing out of Texas this year that makes me think that they can win that game.
And they were given 3 when the line first started.
My answer would be, yeah, I like Oklahoma in that one if you just analyze it. But my answer, Brad, would be I saw nothing in Florida that told me they would take down Texas the way they did.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Ken, the people out in Texas, you watch that game, 6 sacks by the Florida defense, and people are talking about, Billy Napier does it again, but you can't keep sacrificing the first 3 or 4 games of the season before you turn it around. Brendan has been a harsh critic, but Brendan does not drink the Kool-Aid. Buddy doesn't. Lauren Meadows on this channel doesn't. These scenarios that are playing out right now, you got a lot of money at Texas. What's it like when a lot of those boosters out there? By the way, if you've seen Jimmy McDavid at the State Fair, my friend from Memphis, eating a turkey leg, he's going to be there sometime over the next
year. But this is way too early for Jimmy McDavid.
That's right.
The sun has to be a lot higher in the air for Jimmy McDavid to come out.
Yeah. He's in the way.
He'll be here at the game tomorrow. I'll tell you that.
Oh,
he will
be.
That's something I got to mention that's really unique about this. Okay, think about this. There's going to be 92,000 people in that stadium tomorrow. Okay, sold out. But there's also going to be between 75,000 and 100,000 people in the State Fair. So there'll be about 200,000 people right around this area that I'm sitting in, all crammed in here for about 5-6 hours. So it's just complete and utter craziness, And what does everybody want? Either a corn dog or a turkey leg.
Funnel cake.
Do what?
Funnel cake.
Yeah.
Or funnel cake. Yeah, we got those too.
I'd like to be the guy selling the Tums or the Rolaids there. That's the moneymaker.
Yeah, really. And,
I'd like to be a cardiologist in that zip code.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Hey, tell me when y'all get the corn dogs. I'll head on over.
Come on. Yeah, Fletcher's Corny Dog's the best. But, I'm telling you, a lot of people are nervous about this game tomorrow. And, I think if you'd have looked at the beginning of the season, people would have thought, this is a easy win for Texas.
Yeah.
But, I really think it's a toss-up. But, this game, every year it seems like, last year was an exception. and there are some exceptions, but every year this game seems to turn on one play. You know, Cameron Dicker the kicker, kicking a field goal to win the game at the final seconds. Dylan Gabriel throwing that touchdown pass in overtime to win the game. So it's always it comes down to something.
That last time that OU won with that sweep to the side that scored on that last play.
Right.
There's always something that happens in this. And you can bet, Ken, Oklahoma's coming to this with a redwood on their shoulder. They've got a chip from last year. They didn't like the way that they got portrayed by everybody in the SEC and almost got
you're
laughed
100%
at.
Right.
They're going to give you all they got.
Oh, and then some.
Yeah. Doug, your take on one more before we wrap it up. Nobody's talked about South Carolina at LSU this weekend.
Shush. I don't want to bring that up. I just want to sleepwalk through that one, boy.
Duff's the one. I told Duff I thought Ole Miss would give LSU problems. Ole Miss would give a lot of people problems with their capability, but especially at home. But the South Carolina's, we've talked about Florida off that, and these, maybe Auburn tomorrow night. I can't pick that because of what Freeze has shown. I agree with Brad on that. It just looks grossly incompetent. And it can only, you figure it can only get better, but probably not enough to pick Auburn straight up. But can South Carolina get up off the mat? Can Nussmeier start to live up to billing with that crowd behind him? I love what Duffy said. Beamer said, I'm not sure you probably can't simulate 100,000 wildly drunk
LSU. Probably drunk. I took exception with that comment, not the first part, but the fact that he actually put the word probably in.
Probably. God,
one of the worst words in the English vocabulary.
That's right.
I get buzz when I go to Baton Rouge, just wafting through the air, just inhale the bourbon.
It really does.
Well, Lenore Sellers could have a big game, and that's the wild card with this. But here's the thing. I've heard coming out of Baton Rouge that Nussmeier is finally healthy and ready to go. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
That game, I feel like that's too big of a spread.
I definitely would not lay the 10.5. No way.
I mean, I think the way that LSU has played this year, they've been in every game. The games are close. Ole Miss game was close. It feels to me like a one-score game. That I think Sellers' legs are going to do a lot in this game for him.
I agree. And you saw that against Ole Miss. We had to keep containment, and we didn't. And look, Sellers is not going to throw Lagway's 5 picks. That ain't going to happen.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just going to be an incredible weekend. Guys, awesome show. Thank you all more than you know for sharing your time with us. Everybody, every single one of you. Brendan Martin, executive producer, all of you watching. This is so much fun. Go out. Let's see what happens. We'll do it again next week. Get you some Tums and Rolaids, Ken. Be careful. Say hi to Jimmy when you see him. Let me say something as we wrap up, man, about our great sponsors. Hewlett and Dunn right down the street from Landers every day of the week except Sunday. They've got Filson, Stetson. They've got Duckhead, Barber, Pendleton, Schaefer. All the coats and jackets are coming in every single day. Boxes and boxes of new gear. Hewlett and Dunn open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on the historic square in Collierville, Tennessee. Black Friday, that weekend, they start opening on Sundays all the way through Christmas. Love the people. Charles Hall, J.M. Huffman, his wife Laura Hall. They're just great people. You'll love shopping there. Rumble Boxing, how you fight is how you live. Proud to have them as a sponsor. Union and McLean, Midtown Memphis, open every day of the week. Get in the best shape of your life. And Pro Athletes Hemp Association, Lights Out Gummies, 25% off. Use code SIDELINES, and they will ship them out. They're quick to get them to you. Hey, most often we see the face of Christ in the least among us. We're the most blessed people in the greatest country in the history of the world. Help people out. Have a great weekend. See you Monday.